No matter how many blankets and pillows you add, does your home still lack that comfortable, cozy feeling? I'm Krista Hermanson, a designer with over 20 years experience, and today I'm going to tell you how to solve that problem. So let's get cozy. If you've been following us for a while, you may have heard us use the word hygge. And hygge is a Danish word that literally translates into something pretty close to cozy time. It's about gathering, snuggling up, and creating community and warmth all year round, not just in the wintertime. So we're going to deconstruct that today and discuss how you can create cozy in your design overall, because it's not just about adding throw pillows and another trip to HomeSense. In a kitchen, that might mean doing a banquette underneath a window area in a beautiful soft velvet, an inviting, cozy area where lots of people can pile in and have a coffee or a hot chocolate. And we would do that through design rather than just through decor. It might also be creating on your island comfortable island chairs for your visitors or your kids to sit in as they're doing their homework, because hygge is also about inviting, as I've said, conversation and connection. So think about the pieces and the elements that are going to make you feel calm, collected, and able to really settle in a room. So it's really about thinking about what are your goals for the space, what are the functional goals from more of a design perspective than a decor perspective. So when you're standing in your kitchen, do you want to be able to listen to your kids tell you about their day? And also, are you thinking about when you're entertaining and maybe you've got good friends across the island, but you don't quite want them in your kitchen primary workspace, but you still want to be able to connect with them and feel like you're part of the party. So a good kitchen design will solve that problem. Also think about comfort first layouts. I have worked on so many projects where the furniture is very tall and upright, and it creates a barrier between one area and another area, and that also creates a barrier between people in each of those areas. So think about conversational flow, and also think about access and creating seating arrangements that allow people to flow through and around them, as opposed to something that might feel almost like an interior wall that would block communication. So thinking about how traffic flows and how people enter and land in an area is very important. Also, proximity of seating arrangements. You don't want to be yelling across the room at someone and not being able to look directly at them. So think about angles and the way you place your furniture. If you're doing two chairs side by side, angle them in the way I have this one angled in. Do the second one over here with the same kind of angle, so that it's very natural to turn towards your companion and to be able to have a conversation, as opposed to two occasional chairs both facing straight ahead, like you're in a library or a viewing room. Think about creating those intimate conversation areas within a larger living area. So think about connection, because even introverts have a desire for connection. They're just a little less noisy about it. Think about where people can land. If it's awkward and there's nowhere if there's no obvious seat, then people are either uncomfortably standing or they will migrate somewhere else. I'm also thinking of a beautiful example of a family that we worked with recently, and they have a sofa in sort of adjacent to their kitchen and nook area. And it's beautiful because the kids curl up and read there in the sunshine. They're near mom, they're part of the family, everyone feels connected. And yet there's this cozy, natural landing space. And in this case, it's a sofa. But in another case, if we were doing a kitchen renovation, maybe we would add a beautiful window seat or an extra large window seat that becomes just a natural sort of cat-like curling up space. And that's something that can be solved either with furniture potentially or with a design perspective that is factoring in the behavior and the reactions of the people who live within the space. So it's thinking about every age and stage, from the elderly and a more upright chair that would allow them to be part of the conversation, and then the softer, closer to the ground surfaces for the littlest one. Another way to create warmth and coziness in a space is through adding texture, light, and thinking about sound. Yes, I said sound. Acoustic properties in a room are very important, and using upholstered finishes, area rugs, things that will soften and absorb the sound are very important, even in bathrooms. Also, using warm woods and non-reflective surfaces will give the appearance of a more warm, inviting environment. I mentioned light. Lighting is super important. Layers of light, layers of light, layers of light. Dimmer switches are your friend. And think about lamps, think about overhead lighting, think about ambient lighting, and even low lighting in each room. Think of painting with light, if you will, and using light very intentionally. If you're putting a spotlight on something, then let's make sure that it's something that you want to draw attention to. Then the last thing, of course, is texture. And texture is one of my favorite subjects because it is so important to creating human feeling, cozy, warm environments. So area rugs, throws, soft upholstered furniture. Don't put all leather furniture in a room. Have a mixture. If you're really attached to leather and you want the ruggedness and the durability of leather, by all means use it, but don't do every single piece of leather in your seating area, in your living room, because you'll end up making it feel more like a waiting room than a cozy, livable living room. And then my invitation to you would be to also think really carefully about function over form. I remember a client being really in love with a very undersized dresser that they owned. And we were doing furniture and planning for their new home. And they were like, oh, I really like this piece. I've had this piece forever. And it's great. It was a really pretty piece, but it was a third the size that they needed functionally to store all the things that had to be stored within it in their tight space. So function has to come first, and then form should be beautifully wrapped around the function. So an example is, it's really cute by your back door to have a tiny little table that's charming to look at. But if what you need is a cabinet that's going to hold 14 pairs of shoes so you're not tripping over them when you come in every day, then that's where function has to win out over form. And then you can make it beautiful once you've decided what the functionality of it needs to be. So good luck as you pull together all these beautiful details on your home. We love the conversation, and we so appreciate you sharing your time and your attention with us today. Stay tuned.
I am on top of the world. I am on top of my life.